Suicide
And
Ghost.
we're live. This is like quiet live. We haven't announced this.
We're live.
We're live. And this is behind the scenes. This is SPSM behind the scenes. Our guest tonight is anonymous. It's at SWMod Laura. Laura is a mod from subreddit SuicideWatch, and she is anonymous and so only tweeting because she needs to keep her anonymity to be an effective mod for this very important subreddit. It's one of the largest social media communities for people to talk about their feeling suicidal. And she's like the coolest person ever. If you read any of the tweets from SPSM talking about like the Slate interview she did, where she really talked a lot, and you know John Draper was in that article, and just a ton of really great people. And so I hope that you'll look at the SPSM blog and see the links. But this is just a secret. This is behind the scenes. And guess who else is behind the scenes if you can find us? Tony Wood, he's back!
Hello, everybody, at ADWWW on Twitter.
Where were you, Lawrence of Arabia?
Everywhere. I highly recommend every hotel in America.
Yeah, you've been a few places.
I've been everywhere, man. But the biggest thing was Kai 2016. Kai 2016 was a hell of a thing, I'll tell you.
Well, tell us about it.
4,000 human interface designers of every stripe. If you're sort of an internet type, and I guess if you happen to be seeing this, you must be one. You've probably seen the skin tracking thing that they're doing, where you turn your arm into a touchpad. Well, those people were there, and they did their first demo there. They're really cool. They're a lot cooler than me. They're very cool people.
Are they really cool or nerd cool?
I can't tell the difference.
Oh, that's reasonable.
They seem to be nerd cool to me, but they might be actually cool.
Yeah, there are some people who are just cool. I mean, I'm not one of them. I'm definitely nerd cool, and it's hard. You know, you have your people you love, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love them. They're just cool.
Well, that doesn't seem like nice.
I don't know. I guess I'm not that nice of a person. But 4,000 interface designers was the biggest conference by far that I think I've ever been to. It was pretty astonishing. And the amount of content in such a short period of time, even though it was 5 days, was extraordinary. If you're interested in the intersection of humans and computers, which seems to be quite popular these days, you might check out the proceedings of Kai 2016 CH, Computer Human Interface, CHI.
Well, you could tweet out a link to that.
I will, probably.
Like, this is just...
Probably.
It's not a good attitude. It's not the right kind of attitude.
You might share this.
It's a heck of a thing. Robots that will print clothing or accessories on your body. Robots that follow your movements and can help you, that potentially will help you do stuff. All kinds of wacky stuff to do with virtual reality. The CEOs of a bunch of big companies, the research directors from Microsoft and Google, and. As well as our pals from the Media Lab, Matt Nock and Karthik Dinakar.
Karthik. Matt Nock is okay, but that Karthik I could just face because he's adorable. I just want to lick him.
He's a charming little fellow.
Lick Dinakar 2016. That should be a thing.
I think he'd be a little disturbed by it, and I'm not sure if it's compatible with his,
I'm not doing it for
his religious beliefs. But I'm not telling you, I'm not going to encourage people to assault Karthik Dinakar, but he is a charming person.
If he doesn't know it's happening until it's too late.
I don't think that that's how that works. I'm pretty sure, in fact, that that's exactly what assault is.
Who is Lisanne Wick? Oh,
Lisanne Wick is she is a crisis center director. She's part of NASCAD. She is amazing.
Fancy.
Have I met her?
Probably.
His name, Lisanne, is so pretty, and it's not ringing any bells.
I want to say, yeah. Lisanne's amazing. Oh, the battle. Battle for Justice is on
Battle for
the.
Justice.
Well, let me tell you, if I were a crisis center director, this is the one I'd want to be on to hear how somebody does this. Like, and somebody who has to manage the same kind of work the same kind of things that you would hear on a crisis line, but in an anonymous social media community that is not heavily regulated, and that are exactly the people who do not want to call a traditional crisis line. And I think that's what's interesting is Laura is figuring out how to do this in a very, very different space than the ones that like traditionally people are in when they're working on a crisis line. And Bart, I'm relying on you to tell me more about some of that.
I am glad to. What's really interesting? What's interesting is that just this Twitter chat I was on the other night, there's a huge chunk of folks who are fighting suicide who will not reach out to formal forms of support because they're desperately fearful, and sometimes rightfully so, that the police are going to be called. When people are talking about their intense struggle with suicide, it can freak people out, and if you aren't comfortable and trained and have the space and the security to recognize that people need to have the space to talk about it, and I think liability gets in the way, and what people think liability means and what it doesn't mean, and we can debate that. But I realized in a really powerful exchange I was involved in that one of the things that's so cool about Reddit Suicide Watch is the place where people can really have an intense and open conversation in a format that they're comfortable with in a way that's safe for them. And I think it's very important because I think there's a lot of folks out there that are fighting suicide that are not hitting the treatment system, or if they do, when they're asked about suicide, they say no because they don't want anything.
Well, there are things that if I don't do, like once you say yes, that you may not want me to do, and I sort of understand that because the minute that you're anonymous and I don't know your name or where you are, the truth is that I have a different set of obligations with you, right? I don't have to necessarily focus on what's going to happen if I don't call the police.
You got it. Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of the what's best practice or what liability would say is best practice and what the research is telling us about drastic measures have not come up with one another. And so it's interesting because there's some crisis centers. There used to be, I don't know if there's many of these left, that refuse to do active rescue. They would absolutely never ever do anything to intervene, and people would get all worked up about that. And I'm not so sure that's a horrible thing, to be quite honest. I know that there's an argument to be made about certain things and intervening in certain situations, but their philosophy is that we save more lives by people being able to come here without any fear of the police being called. That in fact is life promoting, and that in the end, the more people are saved. There were all kinds of centers around the country that were no rescue centers, right? Now the Lifeline has a rescue.
How are they doing now?
Well, I don't know. To join the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, you had to agree to engage in active rescue, right? Mm-hmm. Which is an active rescue is something I believe in. I'm not saying I don't believe in active rescue. I do, and I've been involved in many cases in my career where the person was almost died, and if we wouldn't have gotten to them, they would be no longer with us. So I know that it does save lives, but what we don't talk about is that the lives that are impacted in a negative way because of active rescue or the fear of active rescue. So nothing is ever clear cut. There's always a trade-off when you're talking about.
Well, we don't understand the problem well enough to decide to have hard definitions of when it's a good idea to actively rescue someone and when it isn't, right?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would love for there to please be some empiric evidence, because right now I have my gut about what might go on, what lived experience tell me they would prefer, what the lawyers are going to say after someone has died, and that, I mean, I've already been in that situation.
Yeah.
And why didn't I call 911? Like, for a voluntary person going to the hospital voluntarily with their power of attorney, and like, that's not an abstract dilemma to me. And so if you're willing to not call rescue and you're willing to talk about these spaces after that's happened to the clinician, I think that's awesome. But, like, I would love for someone to give us real evidence and a way to do the right thing. That's what I want.
I agree. I think those are really important points, and I think that to date there's no research that I'm aware of, and I always put that caveat. There's no research that I'm aware of that says if you call the police in these situations, you improve survivability, or if you don't call the police in these situations, you don't improve survivability. There's nothing. And we got nothing empirical that says that doing this action has this impact. We all believe, and we all have anecdotal evidence of times that it saved someone's life. I can also give you anecdotes where the police have been called and the person ended up dead because the police were called. Would they have ended up dead if the police hadn't been called? I don't know that, right? Maybe, maybe not. And so we have this daily technique, this daily procedure that is literally a best practice. It's recommended and is used all across the country. It's being used right now, and we don't have a shred of evidence that, in fact, it does save more lives. I believe it does, but that's just my opinion. I don't have any science to say that that is in fact the case.
So Laura said, Suicide Watch exists because we couldn't wipe it out. Redditors feel uniquely at home there, but it is an awful place to do suicide prevention.
Wow. Well, that was
yeah, it's tough. It's not exactly a safe environment.
I've never been on Reddit.
Oh my God!
Well, I've looked at the news
just
page,
imagine a safe, happy
page.
place, and then take all the safety and happiness.
And when people say
sort of
subreddit,
highly variable at any given time.
What's a subreddit? I've heard about what's subreddit.
It's like a page in a paper. So think about Reddit as like the newspaper of the internet, and there's a front page. They call it the front page. And then subreddits are all these little sections. Only there's like thousands and thousands and thousands. And people find these little chat rooms that they go to, and you can subscribe to them. So it's like a newspaper you can subscribe to, and you upvote or downvote the content. So you sort of influence what content is successful, and you can look at content filtered based on things that you're interested in, where you can just sort of jump in.
So is Suicide Watch an example of a subreddit?
It is.
Yeah, it's just a page in the newspaper where people just go to talk about doing suicide.
It's more like a section in the classifieds.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily edited by anyone. It's sort of done by submission, except the people who follow that subreddit vote on what the content they like best, and that's what's at the top.
And I love what Chris Maxwell just tweeted out about this is an example of going to where people are and where they want to be to talk about something.
Yeah, right? That's why their work is so important.
Yep, that's so key to me about meeting people where they're at. April muted herself.
Well, it's so hard. I mean, what they're doing is so hard because the environment, you don't have any control over the environment. All the traditional methods that I am aware of, people really depend on having control of being able to hang up on someone or being able to end a call or being able to call the police in somebody's office or whatever. But Reddit it's the wild, wild west. They're doing a job like nobody else.
Somebody posted in Facebook the Sanctuary suicide respite center in London. Did you see about? Have you heard about the Sanctuary?
No.
It's absolutely amazing. It's this suicide drop-off center in, I believe, London. It's definitely in England. They don't do any intervention. Their goal is to just provide compassionate listening, be there with the person. Their outcomes have been amazing. It's there's 9 professionals and then a bunch of volunteers, peers, right? And this is another way of meeting people where they're at, right? We're not trying to convince these folks not to kill themselves. We're just being there to listen and be compassionate. Sure. So there's different ways to meet people where they are, and I think that we can do that both in a space like Reddit, where they're at, or we can do it by creating a place where we can be with them where they're at, if that makes any sense. So I thought Chris Maxwell's tweet was very powerful.
Yeah, I'm really interested. We need to try to drag somebody that is really familiar with the British model on the show, but they're in the wrong time zone, so we're going to have to figure that out, because I'm fascinated by their idea of queuing. Like the discussions that I've had with other crisis people is that they don't do queuing. They just talk to people as long as they need to talk, and if you call the line, you're expected to be put on hold. That's kind of how it works.
I have heard Brian Mashara talks about that in certain European countries that's the case. I don't know if that's how Samaritans and how the UK crisis
Samaritans UK.
Yeah, so now Samaritans is definitely Samaritans has a different model, but I don't know if that's the model. But I think that from what I understand about many suicide prevention lines in Europe, the focus is on the caller you have, and people can wait a really really long time, right? And that means phone calls are really really long, and that's one model, and there are some people that really like it. There's disadvantages to that, and for obviously professional call centers in the States, contact centers, that's a major challenge for a lot of different reasons. But I think there's something to be said about that sort of model, right? And I think that Tricia, she knows more about Contact in Northern Ireland, and I'd love to hear more about their model. I think that would be fascinating to hear what folks are.
We need to try to get her to get because there's some really interesting people.
Bart, I'm going to totally shift this, although I think you guys are totally right about getting someone from the British model. They're talking about troll people.
Yeah.
People agonizing. And considering how much you're distressed about things like the British Sun and the Lion reports, like this is something that I would really engage with Laura about. Like, how does she handle people who are purposefully trying to harm someone who is in extreme anguish?
You need to get ears in, woman.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
I'll be
wonder,
back.
Yeah. What is she not using her microphone, Tony?
She wasn't using earphones, and so the noise cancellation, just for everybody out there, if you're all two of you, which I love you both for watching this, and hi Mom, if you don't use earphones to prevent the feedback loop, the noise cancellation magic that they build into Google Hangouts isn't good enough to defeat it, so it does feedback pretty bad. And so she has to put in earphones for her to be able to understand what she just said.
So I'm getting feedback. Is that because?
Yeah, it's bad. That's what I'm trying to tell you, and I've got the earphones.
Oh, you're
in.
I can hear you much better now.
Yeah, but we're really bad feedback.
I'll mute myself and see if it changes.
Hey, how's it going, Bart?
It's going well. Nope, there it is.
Let's see. It's not me.
Wait, maybe it's me.
Okay, so I totally love that she's listing off the awful things. So the number 2 awful things, we get lots of fatuous know-it-alls. You'll know that 99% of our rules are for helpers.
I'm going to log out.
Okay.
Oh, wait, it's not doing it.
Did it get better now?
Yeah.
Sweet.
What happened? What'd you do?
I dropped off and came back.
Oh, it was funny.
One of the things that I really love that Laura's posting is on that subreddit, they have a lot of rules on that page, but the rules are primarily for helpers, not for people who are suicidal, which is how I think it should be. But the person in distress, we're not putting all these constraints on how they act, but we are definitely putting in a lot of rules and guidance on how helpers act, and random people can show up and help. And they even have like prompts for how to help someone. And they even have, like, if you show up to help someone, you get an automated message that says, we're apologize that it's automated, but we just need to let you know that this is what you're doing, and you sort of hear the resources. And I'm like, that is just effing brilliant use of technology that I want to help, and I'm here to help, and I'm going to bring my humanness and my empathy and my compassion and my desire to be helpful, and then I'm going to get some help. And the mods are like, and if you want us to help you, this is how you get in touch with the mod to be helpful, if you need some help helping.
Yeah, there was some really cool, that article I tweeted out on the hashtag talks about some of those rules and about some of the challenges that they have, and they have some people who pretend to be moderators who aren't moderators, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah. So there's some folks that jump in and they pretend to be moderators, and the article said you can kind of figure that out pretty quickly because they don't follow any of the rules and they tend to be very, very chatty. They mansplain, and everybody knows that mansplaining is the best way to prevent suicide.
It's my way. I just tell people, just stop it.
Stop it. Feel
And
good
then I
about
tell
life.
them why.
Look,
And
look, think positive. Think positive thoughts. What if you just come on, Foreman? Everybody knows if you just think positive thoughts, that
Solid advice.
just
well,
think
sometimes
positive.
you need a magic feather.
And have a magic feather. I think you can do both. There's nothing that says you can't have a magic feather and think positive thoughts.
Yeah, especially from anthropomorphic racial stereotypes, if you can get them.
I need to turn this, Tony, how do I turn this back to like people popping on the screen as they're speaking? Because I can't, it's hard for me to control the camera because I really want to read the chat.
I don't know.
If you click on your name again, click on your picture again.
Okay.
That's right. If you click on your picture again at the bottom,
okay.
it should then you should see us as we talk.
Fancy.
Hangout expert.
Bart Andrews, PhD.
I hope nobody's watching, right? Nobody's watching, right? Can you see who's watching? We got the echo back.
We have just a few watchers, but this is like one of those deals where there are a few people who really dig this, and this is really, it's fun to do, and it's just fun, and we've gotten good enough at it that we can do it. So.
First time I love this, Chris. The first time he found it, he tried to link hotlines and got downvoted into oblivion. That's awesome.
Quentin, I said fuck in my presentation the other day. I thought of you two. My advisor scowled.
Gloater, Amelia? Gloating about what?
She gloats a lot. She's a gloaty person.
What is she talking about gloating?
Me? Who?
No, Ethos.
I'm gonna let me pop back out and back in because let's see if that's.
I'm gonna say that Atos is the only person I know who's probably incapable of gloating, and I don't know why, but I'm so jealous. She's so kind and good, and
I think she may be calling me a gloater. No, it's Bart. She's calling Bart a gloater. So I totally
reasonable. Yes, but reasonable.
Yes.
Hello. Bart is the
gloater.
Bart is the gloater.
My microphone is not working.
Huh.
Weird. How bad is it? Oh, can you hear me?
Not that bad.
Oh, wait. Oh.
I'm just excited to get some NASCAD people to go to the subreddit and just look at how it works. I'm not saying, I don't know that you necessarily want to run a phone line like this, but one of the things that really occurs to me that John Draper had said that has stuck with me since February is that we really designed crisis work based on phone lines and just as like people figured it out on phone lines in a bunch of places and then we sort of built a line. And then all this other stuff, chat and text and everything, like we haven't really built the infrastructure. And by the way, in some ways we're just sort of repeating with new mediums what we already do, and everyone I know who does these different mediums says, nope, it's a different skill. And I think on a subreddit, on a big media bulletin board, I think it's a different skill, and this is it's an interesting skill.
Well, and I think that one of the things, there's a great new article by Tucker on drivers of suicide. So, distinguishing between warning signs, risk factors, and if you ask most alleged suicide experts to distinguish between warning signs and risk factors, they are unable to do so. They use the terms interchangeably, and they're not, folks. And then the third category is drivers. And drivers are things that are specific to the person. They can be related to warning signs and related to risk factors, but drivers are really the person's narrative and how they're connecting with their reasons for suicide, what's driving the suicide, and what it means to them and what it means in their life in the moment. And that's really a shift that we need to take place, and I think you see that with the Reddit stuff and with some of the chat stuff, And with peer-based is that we're really trying to understand the person and where the person's at, and not trying to assess them and intervene with them. Intervention happens as we understand them and develop a better relationship with them, and drivers are key in that. And I think you see that. Big side, Tony.
I got confused between one window and another.
Oh, it was unrelated to my ramble, my monologue?
Totally. It was beautiful. I'm sure whatever you said was amazing.
I don't understand who Love Puppy is, but they're asking some disturbing questions like, does Quentin's brother's suicide make me want to kill himself? Because you don't really understand your brother unless you feel like...
The trolls.
But we get those from time to time. We get...
No, but Love Puppy is... I don't think Love Puppy's a troll. I think Love Puppy might be somebody that really struggles with ongoing...
Oh, so maybe feeling misunderstood.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's okay.
I think that's probably the case.
Bart, you need to update your text, sir, since you've mastered the live aspect and are schooling April.
What do I need to update?
Your tech. If you're going to school me.
What tech do I need to update?
I have no idea. I just like Amelia. Amelia's now my favorite.
What'd she say?
It's one of those things Amelia says that isn't directly connected to reality, but kind of sounds like it, and so it's one of those things that she does. It's like she has this ongoing sort of sense of humor where she can kind of get your brain distracted for a second.
She's so good.
And I
Amelia,
won't ruin her best material should any of the normal human beings out there run into her, but there is some really stuff that she can do, and just be prepared for it because it's great material, but you're not going to know that it was a joke until after.
Amelia is very... And so when like Amelia and I are in the room and I'm like, ah! Amelia's like, it's pretty great.
I'm the echo. You know that?
I'm the walrus.
Cuckoo-cuckoo.
Precisely.
I'm a current crisis line person, but my Reddit work is entirely personal.
I'm part of the furniture. That's funny. I feel like I'm part of the furniture.
That's why we like to sit on you. Doesn't sound right.
Wait, when are we sitting on Tony? I mean, has there been Tony sitting and nobody... See, once again, we're supposed to be the Three Musketeers, but I often feel like there's two Musketeers and a Snickers bar
chair,
off on the side. Did you like
a Babe Ruth in a pool?
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, that's funny. You need a new Dr. Mike Sevilla mic.
I need a Rush Limbaugh, the golden microphone.
Yeah, absolutely. You can just buy a regular mic and spray it gold.
We could buy anything and spray it gold and like hide a microphone in it and do things to Sevilla. Like we could even tell them it's like super fancy and be like, look at Bart's fancy gold microphone, and we can make it look pretty great and just like have a little thing. It'd be we could. Sevilla would like, and we could like, it could be something Sevilla can't find to buy. This would be so fun.
Listen to this tweet from the social work moderator Laura. 2 main categories of helpers: those who've been touched by suicide and raging narcissists. Easy to tell apart, at least. Did you see the study that found the one question that differentiates narcissists from non-narcissists, and you only need one question? You know what the question is? Are you ready? Are you narcissistic?
What do the narcissists say? Because
yes,
well, sometimes
they say yes.
They say yes. I say well.
Yeah, they say yes because they don't see it as a bad. They don't see it as a bad thing.
Oh, they don't.
Yes.
They don't see it as.
We're all self-centered at times. I feel bad about that. I try very hard.
Mm-hmm. They don't say that apparently.
No. So there was a really good article that validated a one-question screen for narcissism. So it's pretty good. The data on it was pretty good. One question: are you a narcissist? There you go. Works pretty well. Saying Kristen Glover is losing it. What did I do? Apparently I'm losing it. What did I lose on?
So there's, Moon, say her last name. I can't.
Chowdhury.
Has done some really cool research about the language that people who are suicidal use, like on SuicideWatch, and people who are helpers, which is really interesting. It's a super cool article. We should find the link and post that. And I wonder if they could do that, like differentiate the effective helpers from the non-effective helpers by just like, I'm sure that Laura could probably
You can't measure effectiveness, really. I mean, you can only measure.
Yeah, but you could have Laura say, I think
along.
these people are better than others, and like have the machine.
Yeah, you can do a Laura score, absolutely. I think that's possible. Ask Christy, but I'm almost certain that you could build a Laura score. So you could score people by how much Laura thought they were good or not.
I think that you could actually evaluate outcome by language responses that people are giving in response to a helper.
I can't disagree because you're the real clinician. If you believe
fact,
we can, then we probably could, but I wouldn't know.
In fact, they're doing that. They're doing it with tone. Many call centers, many contact centers now, their calls are live monitored by apps that measure tonal responses in the person they're talking with, and they can actually get a sense of if the call is going well just by tone, changes in tone. I'm sure that you can do language the same way.
Do you know whose product that is?
There's a lot of folks that are doing that. What is it?
Voice stress analysis?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're mentioning people who we have our Glenn Moriarty. Which Glenn Moriarty is it? Is Glenn Moriarty 1?
How many Glenn Moriartys could there possibly be?
There's several on Twitter, but Glenn Moriarty is Glenn Moriarty 1. Our Glenn, who by the way is amazing. That man, love him, love what they're doing.
I wish that they would just let us plan an SPSM track to AS, and I feel so bad for saying that because like AS does too many things to too many people. But I'm like,
we never asked. I guess we could.
I don't know. I'm not doing that to people. I just that seems like a horrible thing to do at this moment and not helpful. But I'm just like, we have all these really great people that I know. I wish that they were in one place presenting because we just have unearthed this great body of work about this specialty, which I feel like I would love to have Laura there. Like if we just had to have Laura there with a blur around her face, like to explain this to people, and Glenn, because people are talking about 7 Cups and Reddit subreddit SuicideWatch, because that's where you really have people just volunteering to listen at a place where folks who are in distress sort of know to show up or who might show up. And Laura's saying she's done both 7 Cups and done the modding at our SuicideWatch, and she like works at a crisis line. So this is somebody like Laura who has so much suicide prevention and crisis listening experience, like across platforms. It's like she should be teaching a class on a regular basis.
I agree. And I think one of the things, I see Christy is on the chat. One of the things, there's some research, the motivational interviewing folks did some research on change talk in session that you can actually tell outcome by the phrases and words people are using and change talk and patterns of change talk. And I am willing to bet that we can look at speech and tell if people are responding to a helper in a positive or negative fashion. And we should be giving clinicians those tools so they can evaluate their own effectiveness. It won't be as effective as a machine, obviously, but there's got to be a way to help clinicians get a better sense of these phrases or words or these responses you're seeing are an indication that things aren't going well. We take this for granted that clinicians understand that things are going well or not going well, and sometimes it's so obvious, but a lot of times it isn't. And I've noticed, for instance, when I listen to calls, I listen to a lot of calls.
Any clinicians want that? Is there any demand for such a thing?
Well, yes, I think every clinician wants to be better at what they do. Tony, don't shake your Foreman. Be optimistic, positive thinking. Think the best about people. And what did we learn from Deidre McCloskey? Ideas.
Don't even start me with, I want to help the poor, and I want to help them by improving business. And I'm like, thank you, Ronald Reagan.
No, you didn't. I think we watched a different thing.
I wasn't into her. I wasn't into what she had to say.
She's
She
my
had some.
she's my totally new favorite. I
Yeah,
love her.
she does. I mean, but she has her own bias. Believe me, she glossed over some things and she minimized
No
some
shit.
facts.
And I was not
But
into
but
that.
but some of the data and some of the things she's talking about are indisputable.
Yeah, no way. Everything's
Agreed.
disputable. I've known you a long time.
I'm disputing that what you just said. See what I did there? Yeah, see?
We're kind of in between users and admins. Say more on what a mod is when it comes to social media suicide prevention. She is just killing it. I just want Laura to teach a goddamn class, but
What's
she's
an-
anonymous.
What's an OP? But many of our OPs
Original
don't.
posters.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm a Reddit. I'm not going to act like I know something if I don't know it.
Wait till you get
I don't think I'm the only person that doesn't know what an OP is.
No. I
You're
think
just the only person to mansplain to me and
it's
then
a
not
totally,
know.
it's a totally valid. I don't even know what that was.
What did I mansplain to you about?
Didn't. It's just
What
it's
you're-
another.
Amelia, you feel me.
That's a
No,
that's
wait a
a
minute.
million
Tony,
goal.
Tony,
Don't fall for it.
Tony,
Do it
help
with
me
my
with this.
sister.
We've talked to Foreman about keeping her tongue in her mouth on the show.
We
Look,
have.
You
It hasn't worked.
Warning two. At 3
right.
we go DEF CON.
That's right. See what's happened
That's
again?
it. That's it.
Oh, don't make us sing the no tongue song.
Crisis text line data for researchers, also groundbreaking, dedicated to open science, inspirational. I can't argue with that.
Oh,
But Jeannie's hands doesn't think so. But I think they are from a like standpoint of the technology that they've done something pretty spectacular in a very short period of time.
who are we talking about?
Crisis text line, they built an infrastructure for doing that kind of intervention.
You've got to give Crisis Text Line props. They've got a national text crisis service, and I will say this: I have used it. I've gotten through quickly, and I've gotten a legitimate and helpful assistance every time I've used it. So, hey, not too shabby.
Christy Hollins said, I wonder if Laura would correlate with gold awarded by peers for helpfulness. And I think that is something like if like
I'm warp because that was like 3 minutes ago.
I probably
All right.
wormhole.
Baton Rouge is officially not in sync with the rest of the universe, everyone.
Why? What happened?
Apparently Foreman is somewhere in some sort of time
I
hole.
reported something on Facebook and it took 8 hours for Matt to look at it. I don't know if I trust, but I really worried about that Facebook suicide help thing when they announced it. How many people need help?
Well, I think that the easy to access interface is the best part of it.
Oh, somebody wants the link to the behind the scenes thing. How do they watch us behind the scenes?
I'll get it for him right now. Hold on. Because I am a helpful person. I will help with helping.
As long as you keep your tongue in your mouth. Oh, she did it. Damn.
Again with the tongue.
It's bad.
Yep.
My tongue is sexy.
It's not good TV. I mean, it's not.
No, I've been drinking, I have coffee tongue. And if you're into that,
That doesn't. I mean, I'm sure that there's a subreddit,
at Doc Foreman.
but I don't think it's good TV.
No,
But maybe you're setting a trend. Maybe
it has a niche audience.
yeah.
What are we talking about?
Talking about the sticking the tongue out in the thing.
They're saying, please don't do that, Foreman. That is not the Doc Foreman brand. And I feel like 2016 is the year of the tongue.
I think it worked fine. I think it gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, it did. It has killed some airtime.
Yeah, I think that's all right.
Yeah, because we could clearly use it. Because watching three people read the Twitter stream is not exactly
It's not.
compelling.
Wait, Tony. Let's
Look at
back
them
up.
reading.
No, Tony. I think you've got something to say about this, and I want to give you. April and I are going to hold space for you, so that you can share with us.
I can't believe it again! Bart!
Why can't I say that? What's the problem?
Because it just sounds really corny.
What did he say? I was too busy reading.
We were holding space for you while you were ignoring
I'm
us.
holding
We have a very
space for
dysfunctional,
you.
unholy trinity.
Is holding space for me? Is that a therapy thing?
We're
Is that some
holding
sort of
space
shrinking
for you,
thing?
and Tony's ignoring us. It's like
Actually, it's a-
you won't
it's a-
fall. We're like, you're ready to get you, and you're like, who are you?
Look, I can
Holding
do.
space.
Look, I can do Tai Chi.
That's not what Tai Chi is.
It isn't.
It's just reaching back.
Just scratching
you
your
sure?
butt.
I can also, if this is Tai Chi, I can do it, but that is not Tai Chi. I
That's
used to
Tai
have
Chi.
some DVDs.
It's Tai Chi-ish.
PSA.
I
Tonight's
don't think that
SPSM
that's.
is incredibly interesting from Robert Forrest. Super cool.
I don't think that is culturally sensitive, but okay.
Varies a lot. Some of our best people are natural empaths with zero training.
Isn't that the truth? And there's research that backs that up, by the way.
That's pretty nifty.
But empathy can be trained, and there's research that backs that up as well.
Do they get as good as people who are naturally at it?
I think that natural empaths will always have a leg up, but empathy is a behavior, and compassion is a behavior.
Yes, that I know of. Yeah.
So and so this is something, and Megan Stone, hopefully she's listening, but and somebody else, the idea that empathy feels, compassion heals. So empathy and compassion are different things, and you need empathy to be compassionate, but empathy alone is not particularly healing. And empathy alone also leads to burnout, because people just feel all this pain and they're not able to do anything or channel it into some positive.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that I definitely did not. I was much better at compassion and skillfulness than I was at empathy when I started my training, and things had to happen to me while I was in graduate school for empathy to happen for me in a very different way. So I agree with that. And the people who are so naturally good at it, I have such respect and admiration for. Because I'm all about let's rip the Band-Aid off and solve these problems, and then they're like, Doc, stop. That's not very good helping. Well, sometimes it's good helping, but you have to have a very specific relationship before you do that.
Oh, it's no
Some people, that's what they want and need, is very directive.
Oh my God.
And Brian Mashara's research on crisis law.
What it means to hold space for someone, there it is for you, Tony.
Yeah, I read it. It's the first 4 paragraphs are not an explanation of anything. There's some sort of story. But then when you get to the 5th paragraph, it says it's no judgment. It's being with the person without judging them, which seems reasonable. But can you be with it? As Kelly Kerner would ask, if she were here.
Who's Kelly Kerner?
Kelly Kerner is is the author of the DBT manual. She's a heck of a thing.
But Marshall enhanced Marsha, and then Kelly and a couple of others made it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like David Miller in the motivational interviewing book, he's got somebody that helped him write the book, right? So is it Rodnick,
no,
maybe?
they're researchers and gifted therapists, and they did a lot of sort of Marsha, and then
they're the A team. They're the A team. They're the DBT A team. That's who they actually are. Marsha is arguably clearly Mr. T in this relationship. So she's the only one that counts. But then there's everybody else who does all the work too. Because you can't do it without everybody else. And somebody in this analogy has to be the van, and I'm not sure who the van is.
Did Foreman freeze up on us?
Yeah, she did.
I think Foreman froze.
She's frozen. So frozen solid.
She's totally frozen.
It's not. She's
a great face for her.
Reading Twitter.
It's a good thing she didn't freeze with her tongue out.
Am I really frozen?
Yeah. Now you're not. Yay. Our empathy unfroze you.
Yeah. We held space for you, though.
Your empathy is the fucking force, right? Word.
Who came up with hold space? Is that whose term is that?
I don't know, but I hear it used a lot in grief work.
Mm.
And holding space because a lot of times in grief work there is no problem to be solved, man. You're not fixing the grief. You don't fix grief.
No,
right?
grief is the process you go through to heal.
Yeah, what is that?
And so there's things that you can do to remove barriers that are in the way. But grief is about holding space and being present. So this concept of being present is something. But I was talking about Brian Machard did some great research on what crisis line callers like the most or rate the most helpful on a crisis line call. And active listening and reflective listening is great, but if that's all you're doing, not particularly helpful. And if you're very advicey and you're extremely directive, not particularly helpful.
That is not always true, but not true on a crisis line usually. But it's a therapy skill for a very specific time, and that's something that I feel like people did a bad job explaining to me in graduate school.
And keep in mind that anytime we're talking about this sort of research, it's the mean, right? We're talking about what most people said worked better most of the time. So it's that balance between it's that empathy with some guidance, with some direction. That there's this balance between these two things. You need both of these things. That the extremes at either end don't help as many people. There are some people that do really just want someone to listen to them, and they're not looking for guidance or structure. There are some people that call and really do want somebody to kind of step in and say, "Let's do this, let's do this." And I've listened to calls where I thought for sure the person was going to complain that was this very directive call, and in fact the person needed that and appreciated it and called back and said that was the best thing that ever happened to them. So you know some things work with some people some of the times, but it's that kind of combination of empathy with structured and thoughtful guidance that seems to work most often with the most folks.
That's funny. Wow.
What's funny?
Absolutely, empathy can be taught if you believe you need it.
Who said that?
No
Laura,
shit.
Laura did. It was pretty funny. She's funny.
I totally wish she could teach a class. She is really just. We're only getting the very little bits of. I mean she's. Her anonymity makes it really difficult for me to figure out a way to sort of crystallize and disseminate some of the things that she really understands about this specific kind of work. And my sense is that really someone who is more like Bart or Jen Battle should interview her and get concrete sort of the how-to, this is how we do it, and publish an article.
Goods. Who's gonna get the goods?
I love, I think that's a great idea. I mean, so have somebody and we could even think of questions, and then we could write a blog or we could write an article about it. I think that would be awesome, actually.
Ask Battle ask Battle and Laura if they'd be down with that. You and Battle would be the best people to take what Laura knows and codify that in some sort of way and get that. I can't figure out a way for the NASCOD crowd to get Laura's expertise without violating the fact that Laura really needs to be anonymous.
I've got no challenges with that.
Because I think this would be cool as shit for NASCOD.
And on a webinar, she could be totally. We could do a peer and R, and she could be anonymous. But
I know she's so busy, but we're losing all this expertise. It's just killing me.
Well, somebody should find some money to pay her for her time, because that's what grown-ups do.
Tony, I love you for remembering things that I'm dumb and forget.
What did you forget?
I don't know what that is.
That we should not only find a channel, but also a way to reimburse her.
Yeah, because people who are busy like to be paid for their time.
Well, not only that, but she's developed this largely at her own expense.
As did the rest of us, but I do understand. I fully understand that pain.
That was awesome, Tony. That was beautiful. Try this. I'm not sure that's empathy.
I'm not sure that's what that is.
It was pretty fun.
I'm not sure that is empathy.
Me just filming Tony being what Tony is actually like to travel and breakfast speak with.
Oh, the morning Periscope. Oh my God.
It was awesome. Like I'm like,
And then it's like then she's predicting the future 3 weeks into the future before I have to go on a marathon conference run, and she's like, when you get back to Kansas, you're gonna feel horrible because the time change is gonna hit you like a brick wall.
how have you felt this week though? You've done pretty good. You went on a
Yeah, but that was not the prediction at 6 a.m. 4 weeks ago. The prediction 6 a.m. 4 weeks ago was it's going to be a ton of bricks. There's no way. It's unlikely you'll survive. Not a positivist.
I'd like to say that I'm defensive pessimist. Like if you cope for the worst and then you don't need it, like you're just like I'm always prepared.
Right.
Did that get saved? Is that stored somewhere? Or is
it was a cache, so I don't know. I tried to archive. I tried like filling up the stuff on cache, and I don't know where any of the videos went.
No.
I couldn't figure it out.
So no.
No. The answer is no.
Yeah, that was a really long no.
I don't think outside the touchy-feely demographic.
But you know that Periscope saves now if you use a save hashtag.
That is an interesting question.
It does?
Yeah, that's what I heard on one of my nerd shows that I listened to.
What did you hear?
That when Catch went out of business, that Periscope rolled out after Catch went out of business. They didn't kill Catch, but after they went out of business, they added a hashtag save, and if you put that into your Periscope, it will be retained in your account.
Well, we could use that with Shy earlier this week.
I just found out about it myself, like, I don't know, 3 days ago or something.
Jesus Christ, honey, faster.
Faster, right. Yeah, faster.
Sorry.
Faster. Learn things faster and teach everyone else faster. That's right? That's how this is.
Tony, I feel like we're clear about our expectations.
Right, yeah, you are. You're very clear.
I love that Chris Maxwell shortens developing to devoing, and the only thing I can think of when I see that is whip it. Whip it good. Da-na-na-na-na.
I don't even know what they're whipping. I don't know what we must whip it. Other than whipping it out, I don't know what we're whipping.
Don't you remember that Devo in the video? That's one of the first.
How can I forget? I'll be in the home.
With the hats, with the collapsing cup hats.
And I'll know that damn video.
You must whip it.
But I don't know what we're whipping.
Your problems. When your problems come along, you whip it. And you also break your mama's back.
You whip it?
I don't know if you whip your mama, but you do break your mama's back.
Let's whip it.
And you whip it. Whip it good.
So much music.
Now this is good television, right, Tony?
Yeah, talking about Devo. Yeah.
You must whip it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what people tune in for.
When you prevent suicide, you must lick it.
There's something about that your name is Tony and that you're a computer geek and that's scaring by Shane.
I'd like to know why. Why does it scare you?
Who was Tony? Is there a computer? Is there a popular culture reference that we're missing here?
One that I've missed for the last 20 years apparently. But I'm eager to know about it because I could get shirts made.
Or is it something?
Oh, because his name is Tony. Oh, all right.
When preventing suicide,
that's true.
You must whip it.
I know that.
When you're on the rise, you must lick it. Now lick it real good. I feel like we can do it like lick SPSM like.
I don't think that's.
I feel a solidarity coming on. Where's Atos? We could totally do.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Like a lick SPSM. Whip it.
Oh, you know what? We could do a P&R because there's a chat function on the P&R, and so Laura could be on the web, and if she didn't want her voice heard, we could shoot her questions, and that would work out really well, actually. I think that would be really cool.
Please, Laura. My God, you're brilliant. And you know, things we don't know and want to know.
Don't quit. let Laura make her own decision about this. She doesn't
I
need
want
to
her to make her own decision, but I also want to beg.
I'm not sure that that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's pretty.
I think it's a little. I mean, I'm not going to use the word coercion.
I want to say this. It's the opposite of holding space.
I don't think that is what holding space is.
Yeah, you're taking space. You're a space taker.
I'm a space licker, and I won't lick you for a whole year if you do that.
You've never licked anybody. You've never
Have you
licked
not seen my
anybody.
lick Des?
No.
I've licked Des. I've
It
licked
doesn't count. She's in group. She's core group. It's core group. No, it's core group. It doesn't count. It's core group. Core group doesn't count. You know it.
Is there hand signals for the people who are bored?
I'm not licking shit either, Amelia. I just am going to say that I'll refrain from licking Laura for a year.
Well, given that I think the average number of times that people wash their hands after going to the bathroom is somewhere under 40%, you are actually.
Do you know one of my favorite studies? One of my favorite studies is they did a study on hand washing behavior.
With the camera.
And where if someone's in the bathroom, people are more likely to wash their hands.
It's 16% versus 84%. 84% if you have someone with you, and there's still 13% who aren't going to do it. And only 16%. And I am a 16%er.
And I got to say, although
watch that shit.
And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this for the record. I'm going to say this. Although I'm grossed out by it, I have respect for the person that's willing to completely disregard social convention, look you in the eye, and walk out without washing their hands. That's Trumpian. That's Trumpian right there. That's a straight shooter.
Don't invoke his holy name. Megan Stone showed up just now.
I love her.
Awesome.
She was summoned. She heard your call.
Megan's the bomb.
She's been here the whole chat.
No, she just heard your call psychically, I think.
No, she's been here the whole chat. I said hi to her at the beginning.
No, she said she just heard Whip It.
Whip It good.
Missed the first 40 minutes and tuned into the singing of Whip It.
Why don't we have theme music? Why doesn't SPM have theme music? Why don't we have like a song? Why don't we have like a background music?
I don't know anybody who knows how to do it. The minute we find someone that
the minute that we have somebody that can do that, we'll have it. If you know somebody who has a band?
Yeah. Marshall. Marshman.
Yeah, somebody tweet at him and make him do it.
Angel loves Space Liquor.
Space Liquor.
Don't encourage
that,
Angel Blackman. Don't. No.
It's not a good idea.
No.
Do you realize how badly this ends?
Yeah.
You know the part of Terminator where the world is destroyed? That's where this ends.
Skynet.
Yeah.
First
thing.
Yep. You encourage Foreman. Skynet.
Where all cities are a crater. That's the part.
That's what happens. My Twitter.
First it's just a playful licking, and then suddenly the ambassadors are all upset at each other.
My licks are always playful, well received.
You've never licked anybody outside the core group.
I lick people all the time.
So full of crap.
No, actually not, but I love that you think that I'm a non-licker. I like that you think that I have social boundaries.
I'm not saying you don't lick people, but I'm not saying you never lick anybody outside, but from an SPSM standpoint, there's never been any SPSM licking.
Because I know everyone. There isn't anyone new to lick. Maybe I could lick Marsha Linehan. I don't know how she'd feel about that, but it would.
Maxwell needs to be memed. There isn't anybody new to lick. That's SPS goal. I'm tweeting that.
I think. What is that?
Pocket calculator. What is the Kraftwerk song? Oh, look at that. One way. The report is the solution. Oh my God, Maxwell, you fucking genius.
Alexander wept and Foreman licked.
How Joyner isn't friendly. Oh,
He was very friendly.
I love
encourager. Yeah, hold some space there, Angel. Way to go.
For my tongue to get into.
Oh boy.
I feel feel like I'm willing to lick anyone it takes to prevent suicide, and I don't know that everyone has said that as a professional goal, but I have.
I don't think anybody has said it.
Me. Uh-oh, Des is talking.
Who is this ivory tower? Where is this ivory tower? And can we have parts of it? And is it, what's it furnished with?
I don't know, man.
Because the only I don't know. Who are we talking about here, Des? Tell me about
The
ivory
ivory
towers.
tower. It's the ivory tower.
But who's in the ivory tower? And can we meet them, or do we get an appointment?
People who live in the ivory tower are in the ivory tower.
And where does the wiring go?
If you look at
How
it,
do
you can claim
utilities
it.
work? How do the utilities work in an ivory tower?
In my life philosophy.
Oh, it's 10 o'clock.
My goodness, we're done? We're done. Hey guys, we're done.
Well, I'm not done. But do go to hashtag SPSM Unpacked. So I'm going to do the outro and take us off live. If you are watching this, go to the SPSM Unpacked Blab with Atos and Maxwell. They're going to be talking about tonight. It looks as if I'm going to be putting Bart and Jen Battle in touch with our anonymous guest tonight, maybe some further distribution of her expertise into the crisis working expertise sort of sphere. I really would be excited for Laura's particular expertise and skill set, which is singular.
And if you all haven't donated data yet, go to ourdatahelps.org.
Say it again. Don't say it so fast.
ourdatahelps.org.
Please, please.
Please. You don't have to lick anyone. It's not required.
I wish the thing is, you don't want to go into our Suicide Watch and talk about this stuff because you don't want to offend the culture there, but that's a demographic that I wish that they would donate their social media data. I completely understand why they wouldn't want to.
Me too.
But
Me too.
really, truly, their lives, we might be able to do something like get them way better services with that.
We hope so. That's the whole point.
But
People can donate their Reddit data?
Yep, shortly. I don't know if it's up yet, but it should be up at least by the end of the week this week, if it's not up already.
I didn't know about Reddit data.
Oh, yeah.
That is pretty exciting.
Yeah. I don't think it's
still
up
live,
yet, though. Yeah, we're still live. Okay, sorry, everybody. ourdatahelps.org.
The ability to donate Reddit data coming soon.
Woo! And I'm going to go ahead, and with that, we will see you guys next week. Next week, we have Stan Collins, who looks like Superman.
He does.
And has movies like that. Students have made like PSAs about suicide prevention for youth, made by youth.
Yes, totally cool stuff. It's cool stuff.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bart says.